I don't suspect the Maryland defense can put up much of a fight though versus Michigan offense.
We should see a lot of points today, man. It should be a big game.
There's the Michigan team making their way down the tunnel on Thursday. That tunnel here in the stadium was announced it'll be named in honor of legendary Maryland head coach Lloyd Carr. Formal dedication coming Penn State weekend, which is in a couple weeks. But for right now, it is homecoming Saturday in Ann Arbor, and the Maize and Blue set to put their undefeated record on the line against fellow unbeaten Maryland. Charles is enjoying homecoming Saturday. Time to find out if fourth-ranked Michigan is over or undervalued. For the call, Joe Klatt and Gus Johnson.
Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by AT&T Business from legendary Michigan Stadium, also known as the Big House. We've got the undefeated Maryland Terrapins coming into town to take on the Big Ten champion, number 4 ranked Michigan Wolverines. Hi, everybody. I'm Gus Johnson along with my quarterback, Joel Klatt, and welcome to Ann Arbor, folks. Michigan coming off a sensational season in which they won the Big Ten championship, beat Ohio State, and then advanced to the college football playoff. They may have gotten even better. Now, J.J. McCarthy, sophomore, starts at quarterback, and Blake Corum, that sensational little running back, is back there. They got some weapons on offense.
Listen, what I love about J.J. McCarthy is his potential. You know, we haven't seen just how good he can be, but we all think it could be really great. Brady was just talking about it there on the end of the show, just about his ability to push the ball down the field. I believe that he makes them a more explosive team vertically. That ability to push it down with those fast and explosive wide receivers. But don't get confused. This is still Michigan, and they'll still run the rock. And Blake Corum, he does it as well as anybody. 5 rushing touchdowns a week ago. What I love about him, Gus, is his ability to catch it out of the backfield. His versatility is what gives this offense the ability to hurt you in so many different ways. And I think that's one of the ways that they're going to try to attack this Maryland team today.
As for Maryland, head coach Mike Locksley has done a wonderful job with this team coming off his first winning season. He got a contract extension during the offseason, and he's got a quarterback,
yes,
and he's got a running back that can play this game.
Talia Tungavailoa is playing at a really high level. Ever since they lost to Michigan a year ago, they're 5-0. He's thrown for 77% and almost 300 yards a game. Like, he's doing it now. And what I love about his game is that he's great in the play action. He's 89% in the play action. That allows him to get the ball deep to his playmakers. If he can do that today, they've got something brewing. But the run game is also explosive. This is an offense that's averaging 40 points per game, in part because of Roman Himby, their running back. He's a home run hitter. Gus, if he gets a lane on the outside, watch out, because he can take it the distance at any moment.
All right, time now to join the third member of our team roaming the sidelines today, the All-American girl, Jenny Tag.
Well, Gus, as you know, when we sat down with Coach Harbaugh yesterday, he was in a great mood because everything this team accomplished last season, they plan to continue. We asked him, did you sit back in the offseason in your recliner and reflect on the accomplishments? Big Ten champs, a trip to the college football playoff. Did you pat yourself on the back a little bit? And he said, no. I tell myself the same thing I tell my players. Don't get a big head. That is a deep, dark, lonely trap. If you believe you have nothing to improve on, well, you have a big head. Right now, it's about momentum and making sure we're improving at football every single day. And a player that's been doing that for Michigan, it's quarterback J.J. McCarthy. He said to me yesterday, I am really excited to play 4 quarters of football. We've established great habits, and we plan to put that on display today.
All right, Jenny, thank you very much. Weather, perfect fall weather here in the great state of Michigan. 55 degrees, rain in the forecast as we get ready for the Wolverines and the Terps. Michigan won the toss, deferred. Maryland will receive the football. This is the 11th meeting between these two teams. The first meeting back in 1985. Michigan has won 6 in a row. The only Maryland win coming in 2014 in Ann Arbor. Michael Locksley doing a fine job as the head coach at Maryland. As I mentioned, coming off his first winning season, got the big contract extension. He's a DMV guy from that Baltimore, DMV area, excuse me, I can't think of the acronym right now. Meanwhile, Jim Harbaugh on the other side, only coach to win the AP Coach of the Year in both the NFL and in college football. They beat Ohio State, won the Big Ten championship, and then advanced to the college football playoff.
I'm just glad you're back, brother.
I'm glad to be back. Folks, I had a tummy ache. I'm sorry. I had to take a half day.
It is all good, but I got to tell you, it is something else to be back here for this team after what we witnessed a year ago. And some think, I know this sounds crazy, some think this Michigan team might be better than last year's version. But we don't know yet because they have not played anybody. That's the knock against Jim Harbaugh. Gus, we find out today against a very good Maryland team.
Michigan on the season beating Colorado State 51-7, Hawaii 56-10, and UConn last week 59-0. So they've scored 50 points in each game this year. Jake Moody will send it away for the Wolverines. Ty Felton is the deep man for this Maryland Terrapins team. DMV, folks. DC, Maryland, Virginia. Finally figured it out.
You got it. Got it. I thought you were going to get a text from SVP in a second.
With a capacity of 107,601, Michigan Stadium is the largest stadium in the United States and 3rd largest in the world. The record crowd back in 2013, 115,109 versus Notre Dame. Now, what are you expecting to see early on in this game from both teams?
Well, I think some firepower on offense. Both of these offenses, Gus, are very good. I think Talia Tagovailoa is a guy that is playing as well as he has in his entire career. They have an experienced offensive line up front, and this Michigan defense has not been tested.
Michigan, Maryland, here we go from Ann Arbor. And this will be field. Oh, drop. Michigan has a chance to grab it, and they do. At the 10-yard line. Felton bobbled it. And it's recovered by the Wolverines. Special teams been a big deal. Matthew Hibner with the recovery last week. They blocked a punt, ran a punt back. Now they come up with the recovery on the opening kick.
Hit right off of his face. Right to the Wolverines. Easy recovery. And now this offense in business. And this is exactly the type of start that you would hope for if you're Jim Harbaugh. Try to get these 100,000 in the ball game right away and your quarterback on the field as quickly as you can.
So Michigan will start it first down and goal at the 10-yard line. Blake Corum in the backfield with J.J. McCarthy. And McCarthy rolls out, fires, touchdown Wolverines, just like that. Luke Schoonmaker.
Motion's going to affect the safety as the safety goes across with the motion. Now Schoonmaker is able to just get out into the corner of the end zone. He's wide open because of that little shift. Great formation from Michigan, good execution, and an easy score. I told you, Gus, what did you say? What do you expect? Fireworks. Well, bang, bang. Here we go.
Moody in to attempt the extra point. Up and good, just like that. Special teams again paying huge dividends for Jim Harbaugh's Wolverines as they take a 7-0 lead. And when you look at this Michigan roster on offense, they've got about 650 tight ends.
Oh, my goodness. and they're all really good players. There, the touchdown goes to Luke Schoonmaker. It was Hibner with the recovery on that kickoff. He's a tight end, 88. They've got a true freshman that they love in Colston Loveland. But this is a team that has been riding the wave of confidence ever since last year, and you see that here early. You know, in that tight end room, by the way, their depth is going to be tested just a little bit. Eric All, who you and I have loved over the last couple of years just because of how talented he is, his personality, he's not suited today, so he won't be available for Michigan as they take on Maryland this afternoon.
So Michigan will kick it off again. Ty Felton, I don't know if he lost it in the sky or maybe some of the lights. Overcast day here in Ann Arbor.
The wind is blowing just a little bit right to left. Maybe it just carried on him.
Moody sends it deep, and this time it'll be out of the end zone for a touchback. So that'll bring on Tunga Vailoa, who has put up some gaudy numbers over the last year.
Well, he threw for over 3,800 yards a year ago. That's a Maryland record. And you look at what he's been able to do, 77%. That's second in college football. And he's got some weapons on the outside as well. When this guy plays within himself and he gets the ball out quickly, he's one of the best in America.
Talia Tunga Vailoa out of the shotgun with Roman Hemby in the backfield. They'll give it to Hemby, and he'll dart through and cross the 30. Let's take a look at this Maryland offense.
Really talented up front. A couple of NFL guys, maybe Anderson and Duncan, find themselves in a camp coming up soon. They can run the rock, folks. Roman Hemby is averaging 9 yards per carry. Watch out for him. And they've got a quartet of really talented wide receivers.
On second down, they'll throw it near side. Demas Jr. with the reception. And he'll get close to the 40. Defensively for the Wolverines.
Well, this is a team that has to replace Aiden Hutchinson, David Ajabo, Dax Hill, but they feel like in year 2 of this defense with a new defensive coordinator, Jesse Mintor, that they're even faster on the outside, more athletic. Part of that means their new nickel, Mike Samerstill, number 0, moves over from offense.
And they'll hand it off. No. They dump it down. C.J. Dupree wrapped up, wrestled down. Sainer was still there as well as Green.
You know, this defense is rebuilt. They're going to find, or have to find, who their pressure players are from the outside to replace Hutchinson and Ajabo. But rest assured, they feel very confident in the speed that they're putting on the field right now in the defensive backfield.
Second down at 5 of the 44. Tunga Vailoa fires deep. Looking, he's got a man, incomplete. Great coverage on that play by Jamon Green. And that one intended for Rakim Jarrett.
Rakim Jarrett is part of this quartet I was telling you about. Jacob Copeland, Jayshon Jones, Dante Demas. Any one of them could be a #1 receiver at any other school.
Third down at 5 of the 44. Tunga Vailoa in trouble and gets it away. Incomplete, flag on the play. Looks like it may be a face mask. Mike Samerstill with pressure in the backfield for Michigan.
They dialed up the pressure there, and it did look like one of the offensive linemen had a hold of the face.
Personal foul. We're asking a twist of the face mask. Defense, number 32. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
So they get Jalen Harrell. Harrell is at the bottom of your screen. Here's Harrell right here, and he's coming in. And he's working against the offensive lineman, and there's that left hand. There's no doubt. Just kind of grazed it. Flag comes out, and that gives Maryland the automatic first down.
Jalen Harrell, Jr. from Tampa, Florida. 1st and 10 at the 41. Tunga Vailoa out of the gun again. Hands it off. Hemby bobbled it. Crosses the line of scrimmage, but will get positive yardage.
Well, Michigan is just daring them to run the football right now. You see these defensive backs and even linebackers well off the line of scrimmage and deep. There's Jesse Minter, the new defensive coordinator. He is adamant that this is year 2 of the defense, running exactly what Mike McDonald ran a year ago.
Handoff over the right side. Hemby. He'll run into a pile. Gains a couple. Taylor Upshaw. First man to him.
Well, this is an early 3rd down test for both of these units. And Talia Tunga Vailoa, he's got to stay calm, try to get the ball out of his hand as quickly as he can.
3rd and 4. Can Michigan get off the field? Here comes a blitz. Tagovailoa throws it up and incomplete. He had a man. It would have been a tough catch. Corey Dyches covered by Jamon Green. And let's see what Maryland does. They may go for it.
Yeah, I think that they will. Gus Dyches has a height advantage. He's a tight end, 6'2", 220, working on Jamon Green. Lots of hand fighting there. We get away with it as he's trying for the one-handed catch, but they will go for it here on 4th down.
4th down and 4 at the Michigan 35, opening series for Maryland. And a timeout called by Michigan. So we'll take a break. Time for today's game flow, sponsored by Progressive, Michigan Stadium, Ann Arbor, the Big House, Wolverines and Terrapins. So Chad Ryland comes in to attempt a 53-yarder. He's made 21 in a row. He's a transfer from Eastern Michigan, which is right around the corner in Ypsilanti. Good snap, clean hole, got it up. 22 twos, all right. Ryland, a 53-yard field goal, and that's his 22nd in a row.
Beautiful kick. He has a career long of 55, and this one was true right from the moment it left his foot. And I like the decision from Coach Loxley. That was a positive offensive series. You're on the road. You don't want to go empty-handed in that first series. They got a few first downs, the benefit of that face mask call, and then Ryland comes in and puts him on the board. Good call from Coach Loxley there, and now Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines will have to answer.
He's got a weapon in Chad Ryland. Now Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan offense will respond. First points allowed in the first half this season.
I think all of us in college football are just wondering, what is this Michigan team? How are they going to respond when they've got to play someone that can move the ball like a Maryland team or threaten them deep like their wide receivers can? And so, man, there's so much interest in this ball game today.
Roman Wilson, the deep man for the Wolverines, and they'll let that one go out of the back of the end zone. So here comes J.J. McCarthy. He beat out Cade McNamara for the starting job. He's from Illinois, went to the IMG Academy. Hasn't put up gaudy numbers yet, but they feel that he has a potential to be special.
Well, partly because he's been out in the middle of the second quarter and he had to share time early. But when this guy, I tell you, man, the ceiling is so high with him. And I think that they're going to be a more down-the-field team because his arm strength, Brady touched on it there in the pregame. He can threaten the defense down the field to a greater fashion than Cade McNamara can. 1st and 10 to the 25. McCarthy to throw it on 1st down. Near side, caught. Beautiful job. Cornelius Johnson with the reception, and he'll gain 6. Let's take a look at this Michigan offense. Their center, Olu Oluwatimi, transfers in from Virginia. He was a Remington finalist, which is the best center in the country a year ago. Comes in. He is fantastic up front. And then they've got a lot of weapons and a lot of speed. I love Blake Corum. Roman Wilson can absolutely fly, and watch out for a true freshman today, Amorian Walker, number 4.
2nd down and 4 at the 31, and they'll give it. Corum cuts it back inside, cross forward. He's close to the 1st down. Defensively for the Terps,
they are trying to find their identity, and this is a defense that has struggled over the last couple of years. They've given up 30 points a game in each of the last 3 seasons, but they're trying to get much better. Greg China Rose is a guy that can get after the quarterback on the outside, and in the secondary, they're very high on some of these young safeties, including Bo Braid and Dante Trader.
3rd down and short at the 34, 2nd series for Michigan. And Corum looking for the 1st down, drives his legs, and he has it. Blake Corum, just a terrific player from Marshall, Virginia last week. 12 carries, 71 yards, and he tied the school record with 5 touchdowns. Ron Johnson holds the record with him, and that goes all the way back to the 80s.
That running back room is a little bit thin today. Donovan Edwards has been out for a couple of weeks. He remains out today, so watch for freshman C.J. Stokes will be in spelling Blake Corum a bit during the ballgame.
Player down. 7-3 Michigan. Back after this. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by AT&T Business. AT&T 5G, fast, reliable, secure. And by Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above. Welcome back to Ann Arbor.
You saw the pregame show like we did. Tom Rinaldi did an amazing feature on Michi. Demetrius Michi Walker, playing high school at Muskegon locally. Found out he had cancer in his left leg, osteosarcoma. To help with his medical bills, that GoFundMe at the bottom of your screen, you can go help him out.
And the Wolverines on first down. Corum trying to get outside. Burst of speed. Picks up first down. Fast feet. Blake Corum gains 11. Bennett escorting him out of bounds.
We've been doing Michigan games now for about 6-7 years. Gus, this is the fastest Michigan team that I saw on tape. Certainly, I've wondered if that's going to translate onto the field. And early, it certainly seems like it has.
First down to the 47. Corum in the backfield with J.J. McCarthy. McCarthy to throw it. Underneath, caught, safe pass. Finds one of his tight ends, Max Bredesen. And Bredesen will pick up 9.
This offense, I feel like, is primed to take the next step under J.J. McCarthy. You know, it gets talked about a lot. Yeah, he can run. He's athletic. Yeah, that's all well and good, because he can threaten the defense down the field. Those safeties have got to be on high alert at all times with the speed that they put out there because of what he can do throwing the ball down the field.
2nd and 1. McCarthy swings it out. Roman Wilson looking for the first down. Has it and more. There's that speed you talked about, Joe. And all the receivers, the running backs can run. Trader knocks him out of play.
Well, they have been virtually unstoppable so far this season. And again, everyone's saying, hey, they haven't played anybody. Yeah, well, what do you do against a schedule like that? You go out and dominate, and that's exactly what they've done, in particular with McCarthy at quarterback. 18 drives, 15 scores, 14 of them have gone for touchdowns.
First down and 10 to the 39. McCarthy guns it and incomplete. That ball intended for Schoonmaker, who scored a touchdown on the first play of the game after the turnover, and that brings up 2nd down and 10.
Well, they've got a deep tight end room like we talked about, but they also get Ronnie Bell back in the lineup this year. And Ronnie Bell is a guy that we've all loved for a long time. Great leader. Tore up his knee in the first week last year, and now he's back on the field better than ever.
Against Western Michigan. 2nd down and 10 of the 39. And McCarthy looking. McCarthy steps up, finds Schoonmaker. Schoonmaker with a nice catch. Tiny run after the catch. Will gain 5 yards on the play.
Well, it brings up a big 3rd down, and now you focus on the new coordinator situation. Sharon Moore, Matt Weiss sharing those duties. There's Sharon Moore, one of the brightest young coaches in college football, sharing play calling duties with Matt Weiss, the quarterback coach. Sharon Moore, offensive line coach. He does an excellent job, and can't wait to see how they mature in their play calling as the season goes on.
Interesting play right here. 3rd down and 5 at the Maryland 34. 2nd series for Michigan. Out of the gun, McCarthy. McCarthy looking. McCarthy bounces, steps up, lets it go. And incomplete. Cornelius Johnson, the intended target. No flags on the play. Deontay Banks in coverage. And the Wolverines have a decision to make. Looks like they're going to bring on Jake Moody to attempt a field goal.
Great job by this secondary. Watch the linebacker as well as the corner sit on that tight end right there, and then that's where he wants to go. McCarthy can. Even that wheel route from Corum, that's taken up by the safety, force him to go all the way back to the left side of the field and make a really low percentage throw. Great defense.
So Jake Moody, preseason All-American after winning the Lou Groza Award, in to attempt a 52-yarder. And he gets it. Terrific job by Jake Moody. And Michigan with 8:06 to play in the first quarter. The Wolverines taking a 10-3 lead over Maryland. Jersey Mike's College Football Tailgate Tour is here in Ann Arbor. Download the Jersey Mike's app to play our interactive mobile football game showcasing Cletus. I like Jersey Mike's. Got a great Philly cheesesteak. 10-3, Michigan. Tagovailoa ready to come back on the field. Jake Moody tied a career high with that 52-yard field goal. He did the same thing last year against Washington. Now, if you could win $1 million for free, why wouldn't you try it? Just get your phone out now and download Fox Bet Super 6 for free. All it takes is 6 correct picks in tomorrow's NFL Sunday Challenge contest, and you could win $1 million of Terry Bradshaw money. Clarissa does not come with that. First down and 10 to the 25. Antoine Littleton now in the backfield for Maryland. And they'll give it to him running right. With some room, breaks some tackles, cuts it in, and picks up a nice chunk of yardage. Mullings with the tackle, but he gained 16.
Littleton did a great job running through the arm tackle of Junior Colson. Number 25, the linebacker who is a really good player, but Littleton just ran right through his tackle, moved the chains.
First down to the 41. Tagovailoa in trouble. Dancing. Tagovailoa. And he'll step out of bounds. Interesting about this kid. Talia grew up, obviously, with his brother Tua, and he used to play Little League football with him, Joel. And guess what position he played?
I know the answer, so if you were...
He was a center.
He was the center.
Oh, my goodness.
He's like the center. Then once Tua finally went to high school, he's like, hey, can I play quarterback? They were like, you're pretty good, too.
Not bad. Alabama transfer, second down and 3. Underneath, and he has his receiver, Jacob Copeland. Jacob Copeland picks up 12, and all of a sudden, Maryland having no problems moving this football.
Well, and what I love here is that he's going to wait for the second window on the slant. So as he's going to come off this RPO, he wants it there. He's got a pump, and look, he just stays calm. Waits for the second window. It opens up, and he delivers it accurately across the middle.
First down at the Michigan 40. Littleton. And this time they catch him before he can cross the line of scrimmage. Forward progress will allow him to gain a couple of yards. Graydon McGregor defensively for the Wolverines.
You know, these wide receivers on the outside are so dangerous. And at some point, this run game, what's going to happen is that they're going to pop a little play action. And Talia is very good in the play action game.
Second down and 8. Tagovailoa, screen. Hemby. Nice job. Colson with the tackle, but they're close to the first.
I love how Hemby was just patient when he gets out in the route on that screen. He was patient enough to let those linemen run out. It's called the sidewalk. Get out to the numbers in front of him, and then he had a convoy going down the field to make it a short yardage situation.
Michigan defense having a tough time with this Maryland offense. We knew coming into this game that they had weapons. And they look like a well-oiled machine right now. 30 short for the Terps at the Wolverine 31. Handoff. And will they get there? It will depend on the spot. Tagovailoa feels that Maryland has the first down, and they do. Benny with a tackle.
Great second effort. Watches Littleton, who is 235. He gets contacted 3 yards from the line to gain by Benny, and he's able to just churn forward and get the line to gain. Littleton came to Maryland as a 295-pound tailback. He has worked really hard with his nutritionist in the weight room. Now he's down to 235. He's quicker, and he's powerful, and he shows it there.
First down and 10 at the 30. Tagovailoa over the middle. Caught. And once again, it's Demas. This time he'll pick up 4. Junior Colson brings him to the ground.
Boy, isn't Tagovailoa just calm and collected? He's sitting in that pocket, and he's doing a great job of keeping his eyes down the field. We've seen him already on a slant pump, wait for a moment for his wide receiver to come open. There, beautifully, just finds his open man across the middle. He's taking what the defense gives right now, playing really efficient football.
He's finding a rhythm. 5 for 7 to start this game. 2nd and 6 at the 26. Here's the option inside, shovel pass, nicely done. Hemby will make that. Dyches with the shovel pass.
This is a beautiful design. They're going to pull that right guard. That's Spencer Anderson. And then Dyches, 84, he comes up, and now it's just a double option. You can pitch it outside or back inside, and he's got that guard pulling around in front of him. Beautiful design from Maryland.
Gain 12 yards. First down to the Michigan 14. Delayed handoff. Hemby. He'll crash through. Picks up 2. Chris Jenkins there defensively for Michigan.
This is an offense that came into this ball game averaging 40 points a game and almost 500 yards. They hadn't lost and haven't lost since they lost to Michigan late last year. They're 5-0. Their quarterback's been playing great. This is a totally different offense than Michigan saw a year ago, and they're showing it here early.
10th play of the drive. 2nd and 8 at the 12. Can Maryland punch it in? Tagovailoa in the corner. That one high and incomplete. Green in coverage. Rakim Jarrett, the intended receiver.
Well, we've seen now a couple of drives get down and threaten from Maryland. Michigan was able to stand up and force the field goal on the last series. Now, Coach Loxley in this offense, they've got to find something. Where's the one-on-one? Where's the matchup that they want to try to exploit? Rakim Jarrett is a guy that they love to target, but down here at the bottom, you've got Dante Demas. And Demas, he's the type of guy, he's a matchup nightmare.
3rd down and 8 at the 12. Here's Tagovailoa in trouble. Breaks contain. Squares his shoulders. Tucks it and runs. Dives forward and gets out of bounds. And he picks up a first down. Helmet comes off. He may have to sit a play.
That was a heck of a decision. What I love about what he did is that he was threatening the pass all the way until he basically got to the line of scrimmage, and then he tucked it and run. Lost his helmet. He will have to come out. Now it's Billy Edwards, number 9. He's going to come in at quarterback. He's a redshirt freshman from Burke, Virginia. Transfer from Wake Forest.
First down and goal at the 3. Littleton, the lone setback. They give it to Littleton, trying to squeeze through, get to the line of scrimmage. Forward progress. Help him gain a yard. Tagovailoa back in the game.
That scramble was just... That was a beautiful scramble. Again, threatening the pass, forcing the defense to stay in their passing lanes until the very last moment, and now back on the field. And this is the type, especially on the left hash with a right-handed quarterback, you love to see the guy get rolling out to his right, in particular because he's so athletic.
2nd down and goal of the 2. Littleton remains in the game at running back. They give it to him again. Dives forward. Touchdown, Maryland.
Let's fucking go!
Antoine Littleton. Antoine Littleton making the most of his touches.
Well, they did a great job here. Watch as you're going to see a safety coming over the top, as well as Junior Colson, 25, and they're just late to the party. At the goal line, you got to be in there in the backfield. You cannot wait on the running back. Littleton hammers away, and now we've seen a couple of times already the big tailback from Maryland in a short yardage situation getting it done.
And Maryland levels this game at 10. They go on a 13-play drive covering 75 yards. They ate up 5 minutes and 48 seconds. Terps not messing around on the road here in Ann Arbor against the number 4 team in the country. 10-10, our score. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years. Maryland has beaten Michigan once in 10 meetings, and it came on the road. The Terps scored 14 answered points in the fourth quarter to win 23-16 back in 2014.
What an impressive drive that was. 13 plays, 75 yards over 5.5 minutes before Littleton leaned in on that short yardage run, and they were able to run it really well on that series.
Roman Wilson will get a shot from the 1. Wilson hits the sideline, and it'll go out of bounds as he crosses the 25.
You know, this offense for Michigan early last year, they were built like a big old truck. They wanted to win with field position, run the ball, but as they started to move along, they got a little bit more explosive. Then they beat Ohio State, and they became a little bit more explosive. They win the Big Ten, and then they hit Georgia, and they realized they need to go a step further. And now you've got all that speed on the field. You've got J.J. McCarthy, 166 points in the first 3 games. That's the most in college football, and here they are again.
So a first down for Michigan. They'll start from their own 27. Corum with a lane. Corum breaks it inside. Still on the move. Blake Corum wiggles his way down the field for 25 yards. Bennett with the tackle.
Man, he is a rolling ball of butcher knives, isn't he? Like, I mean, just power. He's got the speed, and when he finishes, you know that he is not afraid of contact at the end, getting that ball secured. Nice job up front by that offensive line as well, opening up a big hole on that right side.
5'8", 210 pounds, 1st and 10 at the 49. Corum, single setback. They'll pitch it to him. Follows his blocks. Not a lot. Knocked down quickly. Well done, Caleb Wheatland. Decleats him, and it's a gain of 1.
That was a heck of a play by Caleb Wheatland. He's just a freshman from Virginia and somewhat lightly recruited, but a guy that they've been very impressed with, and they're showing a lot of speed to get to the edge, beat Corum to the edge, and then get him down for a short gain.
That's what Mike Loxley has been doing. He's been getting some players to College Park. 2nd and 9 at the 48. Corum again with a lane. Blake Corum picks up a first down and more. Look at the bowling ball get down the lane. 23 yards. Jacorian Bennett with the tackle.
The key when you're going to pull a guard in this gap scheme is you got to get movement on that double team. Look at the double team and the tight end, and that opens up the big crease for Corum. He's patient enough to let it open up, and then he's onto the secondary quickly. Great block by Max Bredesen, who came in on top of that double team, Gus, and just shoved that front all the way down towards the middle.
So runs of 24 and 23 yards for Corum on this drive. This time it's C.J. Stokes. He lost it. And it's Maryland football. Michigan turns it over. C.J. Stokes with the fumble. Ahmad McCullough, who's in for Ruben Hippolyte today, backup linebacker, with the recovery.
And Vandarius Cowan, he's the one in the backfield, number 8. Great job at the line of scrimmage. Look at me, gets in the backfield, and then he gets after Stokes, and Stokes just kind of drops it. It's been raining all morning. It's a bit wet out, but you've got to secure the ball through the line of scrimmage, and the freshman is unable to do it. Remember, Donovan Edwards not available today for Michigan, and their lack of depth and experience at that position hurts them here early. Stokes, first time he gets a chance to touch the ball, puts it on the turf, and now that efficient Maryland offense is back on the field after their 13-play scoring drive. How about the response from Maryland after that opening kick goes off the face mask of the returner? Michigan scores in 1 play, and they just didn't panic. You got to credit Coach Loxley and the Terrapins right now because they did not panic. They just showed right back up, series after series, and here they are in a tie ball game in the first quarter with their offense back on the field.
First down and 10 at the 27. Tagovailoa has his rhythm. Hands it off to his running back, Littleton. He has major running room, and this Michigan defense having trouble stopping the run. Mullings with the tackle. A gain of 11. Maryland really rushing it well.
Well, they're just overpowering this front seven for Michigan. This offensive line and Littleton, the big back, they are just too much to handle for the Wolverines.
Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by AT&T Business. Beautiful fall afternoon here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And Maryland came to play. 10-10, our score. First down and 10 at the 38. Play fake. Tagovailoa steps into his throw, and on the money. Beautiful job. Big time catch. Jayshon Johnson. And that's a gain, Jayshon Jones, and that's a gain of 25.
First, they're going to clear out on that side. That allows Jayshon Jones to come all the way over from the right side. But the beautiful part about this is Taulia Tagovailoa buying a little bit of time, getting himself free on that left side, and then delivering a dart down the field. Beautiful throw.
First down and 10 at the 36. And this time it's Brown with the run. That's a gain of 5. How did Maryland put this offense together under Coach Locke?
They've just been getting better and better and better every single year. You know, when they first started there, Gus, they did not have the players to come out here and compete in the Big Ten. But when you look at what they've done in their last 16 games, they're 10-6 in their last 16 games. Much better. They were over 500 a year ago, won a bowl game. They've got speed on the outside and power in the middle.
Second down and 5. Here's the fade and incomplete. Intended for Dante Demas Jr. Good coverage by Jamon Green.
And it's very apparent so far early that the big backs and the power of the offensive line is causing a lot of trouble for Michigan's front seven. So I'm a little curious about why they threw it there on second down, because the run game was so good. But here, this might be 4-down territory because of the field position, depending on how close they get to the sticks. So there still could be a running opportunity for them.
Third down and 5 to the 31. Hemby back in the game as the pistol back. Hemby, and he's ambushed and taken down. Mozzie Smith says, not on my watch. The senior from Grand Rapids, that's a loss of 3.
Boy, Mozzie Smith just won immediately. He's right over the center at the nose tackle, and he just wins immediately, and then he finds himself in the backfield, swallowing up that play before he can get started, and that certainly forces Maryland into a field goal position.
Chad Ryland, good from 53 yards on his first attempt. This one from 52. Once again, he is perfect. 23 in a row for Chad Ryland. Unbelievable. And Maryland takes their first lead of the game here in Ann Arbor, 13-10. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. And by Bud Light, who reminds you to drink responsibly. In addition to making 23 straight field goals, Ryland is now 8 for 11 from beyond 50 in his career. Hold on. Mr. Ryland, the NFL is on line 2.
You know what I love about it? He was asked by their SID, Sports Information Director, like, hey, do you want me to make this a thing? You know, do you believe in kicker jinxes? And he says, no, I believe in preparation and practice.
There you go.
So there he goes, man. And by the way, those aren't like, you know, squeaking in or hooking. He is hitting those right down Broadway.
All right, let's take a look at the Pac Life stat summary.
Sponsored by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years. And it's been that run game so far for Maryland that's been so impressive. They've held the ball for over 10 minutes so far. They're 2 of 4 on third down. And Michigan, while they've been able to gain yards, it's really been that one turnover. Kept them on that last series from getting any points, and that's why they are down 13-10. You get the sense right now that both defenses are reeling and that we could be in the middle of what could materialize to be a bit of a shootout here between these two offenses.
First time Michigan has trailed this season, 13-10. McCarthy starts at his own 25 with Corum. He'll throw it on first down. McCarthy looking, bouncing, steps up, sideline throw, nicely done, on out of bounds. Schoonmaker, the tight end, found a soft spot. It'll get out of bounds after a gain of 18 yards.
Maryland dropped 8 into coverage and only rushed 3. That can be difficult for a young quarterback like J.J. McCarthy. You can kind of panic when no one's open, but he didn't. The protection was excellent because there was only 3 rushers, and he just calmly worked all the way through his progression until he got to number 5 and delivered it on the sideline.
First down at the 43-yard line. Here's a handoff, Corum. And he's tripped up, but he'll gain yards. What's the counter when they drop 8 for a quarterback that wants to throw?
Well, you've got to be patient. You've got to be willing to check the ball down, go all the way through all 5 guys in your progression, which he just did. The other thing is, at some point, you've got to come up with what I would call is a zone beater. You put a single defender in a bracketed situation where he can not be right. You're going to bracket him high and low or something along those lines, and you're not trying to run through those with man beaters, but beat them with zone beaters.
2nd and 5 at the 48. Here's a sweep around the right side, and not a lot of room for Ronnie Bell. Maryland ready for it. That's a loss of 3 yards. Isaiah Hazel with the stop.
I mean, this is great coverage on the back end because they're trying to find Roman Wilson. Wilson's trying to go all the way. They're trying to throw this as a double pass. Watch Bell. Look at him look down the field right there. He's like, all right, where's Roman Wilson? But he was covered, and now he's going to try to get as much as he can because the coverage was so great down the field.
3rd down and 8 at the 45. Big play for the Maryland defense. Can they get off the field with a 3-point lead on the road? McCarthy winds up, goes deep, got a man incomplete. Roman Wilson had a couple of steps, but McCarthy couldn't put it on him, and the Wolverines will have to punt it away.
Great defensive series there by that secondary. Great coverage on the double pass attempt, and then here, I know it's not great coverage. You're just going to get an overthrow from J.J. McCarthy, but that play call, trying that trick play, we haven't even seen the jet sweep yet, so they're not building off of their plays. We hadn't seen the jet sweep from Ronnie Bell in order to make that a thing, so the defense doesn't bite on it, and now Michigan has to punt.
Brad Robbins will send it away. He's at the 30. First punt by either team. Jayshon Jones is the deep man. And he has a fair catch inside the 10. So Maryland, surprisingly, with the 3-point lead on the road. Talia back on the field after this. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Progressive. One thing no one would ever challenge, protecting your home and car with Progressive. Tomorrow, it's a huge doubleheader on Fox. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens take on the Patriots. Then in America's Game of the Week, it's one of the biggest games of the year as Aaron Rodgers leads the Packers against Tom Brady and the Bucs. It all kicks off tomorrow at 1 Eastern. Check local listings for the game in your area.
Love this. You got Tua's little brother playing in this game. Stephon Diggs, of course, from Maryland. Aiden Hutchinson was the savior here at Michigan last year. And then, of course, Mr. Michigan, Tom Brady. All those NFL guys ties to these 2 great college programs here. And Talia back on the field.
First down and 10 at the 8-yard line. Tagovailoa has been excellent. Out of his end zone this time. Guns it to the sideline. Throws a strike, and it's caught. Jacob Copeland for a first down.
And again, great protection by this offensive line. This is the only offensive line in the Big Ten to return all 5 starters from a year ago. Coming into today, 99 career starts among them. And look at that protection. And you got to credit Tagovailoa for just hanging in there, just being calm, waiting for his guy to get open down the field, and he hits him.
11-yard reception, first down and 10 at the 19. Tagovailoa, sideline again, and it's dug out of the ground by Copeland. That's a completion for 12 yards.
Michigan doesn't have an answer right now. All three offensive possessions for Maryland have ended in points. Field goal, touchdown, field goal, and there. Nice job by Copeland. He's a transfer from Florida, comes in, was Florida's leading receiver a year ago, and gives them even another threat on the outside. Again, this offense is very different from the offense that Michigan saw late last year. They've got more weapons. They've got more experience up front at the offensive line, and I think Tagovailoa is playing at an exceptionally better clip.
Tagovailoa swing it out. This time, Rakim Jarrett. Jarrett could gain a yard last year in College Park. The Wolverines won it 59-18 as Cade McNamara threw for 259 yards and 2 scores.
They overwhelmed them that day. Here, Rakim Jarrett, he was the only one of this quartet of wide receivers that was there that day. Gobbled up by Junior Colson there on the outside.
Second down and 8 at the 33. Antoine Littleton in the backfield. Play fake. Tagovailoa drops it off. This is a screen. Dupree high stepping. And Dupree out of bounds at the Michigan 40. What a run. It's a 26-yard pickup.
Watch the patience of the offensive linemen. They're just going to stay in there on their blocks for a long time, allowing this screen to set up. First the play action, then they stay in there, and now they're out in front of the tight end, and they do a great job. And there's Dupree with the little hurdle for about 5 more.
First down at the 41. Here's Tagovailoa. Over the middle. It's intercepted. DJ Turner. Give me that.
Tagovailoa's first mistake of the day. Stepping up in the pocket. He throws this one a little low and behind his intended receiver, Copeland, and that's what allows Turner to dive in front and get his hands on that ball. Did he corral that? I don't know, Gus. I do not know if he maintained control or if that ground helped him control the ball. Look as it's kind of going through his hands, and then he uses that ground right there, and the hands come kind of off that ball. To me, that's an incompletion. Now, granted, an incredible effort. Harbaugh loves the effort, and they're going to give it to him here and play on. Wow, that's somewhat surprising.
First down and 10 for the Wolverines after the turnover, and they'll hand it off to Corum, and Corum stacked up and dropped for a loss. Mike Pereira, our rules analyst, joins us now. Mikey Rulebooks, what do you think about this play?
I think the same thing that Joel says. Here, does he use the ground to complete the catch? When both of those hands come off the ball and it slides up into his forearms, to me, I'm very, very surprised that this wasn't looked at. And I think I would have reversed it to incomplete.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Mike. I was shocked when they didn't at least take another look, but they play on, and Michigan gets a huge break. And what an incredible play from DJ Turner.
Second down and 11 at the 27. Now McCarthy wants to run it over the 30. Lost the ball. And Michigan, luckily, recovers. Who could forget last year in the Michigan State game, the only Big Ten loss for Michigan. And J.J. McCarthy coughed it up, which turned the whole game around for the Spartans.
There's the recovery there. Cornelius Johnson was able to dive on it. And this is exactly what Michigan was able to avoid a year ago. They were so fundamentally sound, did not turn the ball over, did not take negative plays, and here, that's what's hurting them.
Third down and 7. Michigan not on schedule. McCarthy looking. McCarthy steps up, steps back, buys time. Nobody home. Still running. Turns a corner and picks up the first down the hard way. Where's Fran Tarkington? Where's Fran Tarkington?
That's exactly what it looked like, didn't it? I mean, the coverage downfield is outstanding from Maryland. They have done a great job all game long covering up these wide receivers. There's nowhere to throw the football. The offensive line did a great job protecting McCarthy, and then it's just all his ability and will to keep that play alive and then go and get that line to gain and move the chains. What an incredible play.
That's a 9-yard run. More importantly, gives Michigan a first down at their own 40-yard line. McCarthy to throw it. Wide side, caught. This time, Andrew Anthony, who had a huge game against Michigan State last year in East Lansing. 90-yard reception on his first college catch.
You know, ever since then, he just hasn't gotten going. You know, he hasn't had more than one catch in any game since then. They're his second catch of the season, but a really talented guy that they need to get more opportunities in this offense.
Second down and 1 at the 49. Play fake. McCarthy off his back foot to the sideline. Schoonmaker again. Let's go downstairs to Jenny Tabb.
Well, it was really special sitting down and getting to know J.J. McCarthy a little bit more yesterday, and we talked about his ability to use those legs, and he said, I understand I have to be careful in those moments, but if we have to get it done, I'll do what's needed. He has a background as a hockey player, guys. He said that's where his toughness comes from. That is what's made him so versatile on the field. He said, I understand I got to be careful, but if I got to get it done, I'm going to do what I have to do.
All right, Jenny's a hockey player as well.
That's right.
First down and 10 at the 38. Here's a handoff. Corum. First down. Blake Corum. Gashing the Maryland defense, this time for 21. Bo Braid with the tackle.
What a great job by Zach Zinter. Watch the right guard as he pulls around. First, the tight end comes there, the tackle comes out there, and then Zinter gets that block on the linebacker. Beautiful job. That springs Corum up to the second level, and you can see how quickly he can get there and just attack in that secondary.
9 carries, 89 yards. He's averaging close to 10 yards per carry, Blake Corum. First down and 10 at the 17 for the Wolverines. Corum again. Bounces it out. He'll be lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Now, Joel, I know that the Wolverines want to focus on the vertical passing game, but I'm not seeing very many crossing routes. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, the coverage right now from Maryland is just excellent. And what you're seeing from Michigan is they're trying to establish the run game, which they've done, in particular with Corum, and then they've tried to take some deep shots down the field. Right now, Maryland is in a bit of a zone defense. They don't like to play as much man as they did a year ago. And if they were in man, Gus, then you would get the crossing routes. But right now, you see these guys, they're all in zone coverage.
Second down and 10 at the 17. McCarthy. Reverses. McCarthy. In trouble. Gets it away. And incomplete. Dangerous play for J.J. McCarthy. He's doing a lot of improvising back there. Maryland almost got him this time.
Well, and again, just probably a little too much. He's got to know when he needs to just burn the ball, and he gets just absolutely drilled in the face as that ball is coming loose. And Michigan's so fortunate that they're able to just fall on that. This is the situation that they've always been trying to avoid with J.J. McCarthy. We know that his top end, his potential is really, really good. So why was Cade McNamara playing? Well, because Cade McNamara's floor was really high, and he wasn't going to put the ball in harm's way. And we've already seen J.J.'s playmaking ability.
The ruling covered by the offense is under further video review.
I think Michigan wants to see if this was going to be actually a forward pass and his hand was moving forward. That would gain them a bunch of yardage and put this ball all the way back. Shoot, Gus, they've gained 12, 15 yards on this in field position. But everyone would always ask me, like, well, why isn't J.J. just always playing? Well, because Jim Harbaugh's formula is more of a foundation of let's not put ourselves behind the 8 ball. Let's do the things necessary. And, yeah, his hand, boy, it does seem like it might be coming a little bit forward.
I will step away while they sort it out. Nice game going on so far. 13-10. Homecoming
moving Saturday back here in Ann Arbor, and it's Michigan trailing Maryland by 3. Rob Stone with you, and coming up on the State Farm halftime, DJU making some music for Clemson as they take on fellow ringside Wake Forest. Penn State surprisingly having some struggles at home, and it's 2 college basketball blue bloods that are unbeaten in college football. Kansas Duke, yes, Kansas Duke. We're going to have highlights of them coming up.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. 3rd down and 25. Here's Corum.
Just to bring you guys up to speed at home, they did review that last play. They ruled that it was a fumble recovered by Michigan. Michigan now decides to just kind of run it for some field position, and will go ahead and attempt this field goal. They lost 15 on that play with J.J. McCarthy.
So Moody comes in to attempt the field goal. Moody's been excellent. Good from 52 yards on his first attempt, and this one from 43. And he hooked it. Wow. So the score remains 13-10, 2:38 to play in the first half.
That's a great win for this Maryland defense. They hold Michigan, get some pressure on the quarterback, and then Moody hooks it left. Maryland's playing some ball today.
Time to celebrate Fansville and college football with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. The one fans deserve. We're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, home to the Michigan Wolverines, legendary Michigan Stadium, the Big House, as Keith Jackson put it years and years ago. But this Maryland team not afraid to be in the Big House. They are playing excellent football in the first half. 1st and 10 to the 25. Tagovailoa underneath, incomplete. Demas the target. Good defense by DJ Turner.
Seems like Maryland's gotten away in the last few play calls from that run game. Gus, that run game has been dominant so far, and they've been pushing that Michigan front around. I know there's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the half, but that's plenty of time to stick with that run game just a bit longer.
65 rushing yards for Maryland. 2nd and 10. This time they'll run it. Hemby. And he's stopped by Junior Colson. 3-yard gain.
Well, now it's up to that offensive line to provide some time. And when they've been able to provide time, Talia has just eaten up this secondary. He's played really well so far. He has thrown that pick. He threw it a little bit behind. DJ Turner went up and intercepted it. But here is a big moment here. He's got to get protection and play with fast feet.
3rd down and 7 to the 28. Roman Hemby in the backfield. Here's a screen outside. Michigan. Nicely done. Mike Sanderson. Here's a young man that was a receiver last year, went over to the defensive side this season, and he is balling out.
And he provides them with so much speed. He's playing in that nickel situation.
2nd charge timeout, Michigan. 30-second timeout.
As Michigan will take a timeout. Sanderson is playing where Dax Hill played a year ago, and Dax Hill was a great player. A great player. 1st rounder. Sanderson comes over, but it has his athleticism and speed. In fact, defensive coordinator Jesse Mentor, who showed up in spring, he told us that if he wouldn't have known that Sanderson came from the offensive side, he would have never known. That's how natural he was on the defensive side.
Let's go downstairs to Jenny for more.
We had a conversation this week, me and Mikey, and I said, what's the first thing you said to Coach Harbaugh when he brought up wanting you to go to the defense? He said, Coach, when can I get in and watch film? This guy is so committed. He's joked, I will play wherever this team needs me. And Joel, you mentioned Dax. They've talked about this, and he said, I'm ready to step into that role.
Maryland sends it away. A.J. Henning in the deep man, who ran a punt back for a touchdown last week against Connecticut. Next, after Big Noon Saturday, college football keeps rolling on Fox as Bo Nix leads 15th-ranked Oregon against Washington State. Then at 8, K-State faces 6th-ranked Oklahoma. It's all coming up next on Fox. I'll tell you what, Oklahoma is good.
Well, they do. I thought it was that Nebraska looked so bad, and that's what made you sick last week, because it certainly made their fans sick. But Oregon played great against BYU. And Minnesota, by the way, watch out for Minnesota in the Big Ten West. Gus, sneaky. They're my favorite in that division. I think they could wind up in Indy, and they've got a big test today at Michigan State.
Terrific coach, P.J. Fleck at Minnesota. Former NFL player. He's got those guys going. Meanwhile, looks like one of the officials may have gotten shaken up.
They always have an extra official on the sideline in a jacket, and here he is. He's going to throw his jacket. I just saw him. He's in, and now he's in. And so the officials here, watch bottom of the screen as they're coming in, and Cornelius Johnson hit the official. He went down. He threw his hat. And now he's going to come out for a play, and they're going to get the sub in.
First down and 10 at the 30. McCarthy trying to get to the edge. And he'll go out of bounds, close to the first down. Gains 9. 1:29 to go. Michigan with 1 timeout remaining. Moody missed his last field goal from 43 yards, but remember, he kicked a 52-yarder earlier in this game. Second down and 1. McCarthy underneath. He's got a tight end. Schoonmaker again. He's had a big day so far. That's his 5th catch.
This coverage, though, they are not letting them get deep. You notice that everything McCarthy is completing has been underneath because the coverage is sinking so far deep.
First down and 10. McCarthy lofts it down the field. Incomplete. Roman Wilson, the target. Great coverage by Deonte Banks.
And Banks is an excellent corner. They feel like they are really good at corner with Deonte Banks, number 3, on the other side, Jacorian Bennett. Here, Roman Wilson gets a bit of a step, but look at Banks. Just catches up right away, gets on his hip, and that ball is thrown outside. Again, the deep coverage has been fantastic from Maryland the entire first half.
Second down and 10 at the 43. See if Michigan can get themselves in the field goal range at least. McCarthy has Cornelius Johnson, head of steam, first down, Wolverines. Here's a crossing route.
Well, what you're going to see here is that this linebacker is going to actually fall. And because he falls, right there, a little contact, he falls down. And that's why Johnson's so wide open. There's so much grass in front of him, and they're able to get that first down.
Here's McCarthy again to the sideline, and another completed pass to Cornelius Johnson. Johnson held without a catch against Connecticut last week. Came into this game with 4 catches.
Toughest thing to do for a quarterback against a coverage that just wants to stay deep, play soft coverage is take what the defense gives underneath. And McCarthy's having to do this. You know that he wants 51 seconds. He wants to take a shot, but he's got to continue to just take what the defense gives with this soft coverage.
Second down and 4 at the 36-yard line. Michigan with 1 timeout. J.J. McCarthy guns it. Roman Wilson incomplete. Looks like he may have been held at the end of that play. Jacorian Bennett was with him. And that brings up 3rd and 4.
These guys are just not worried about the speed of Michigan. There's that hand fighting you were touching on, but this ball just out in front, and JJ has not been accurate down the field. They finally brought some pressure and actually had man-to-man coverage on the outside. Michigan takes their shot, but cannot connect.
3rd down and 4 at the 36. Sun's starting to peek out now. Here in Ann Arbor, handing the motion man. They'll give it to Corum, looking for the first down, and I don't know. As he falls forward, Jay Sean Barham with the tackle. And that brings up 4th down. They didn't get it. Michigan quickly to the line of scrimmage. Here's Corum. Blake Corum. See you later. Touchdown, Michigan. 33 yards. Blake Corum having a monster first half.
They're just trying to get this first down, but watch the vision from Corum. He's going to bounce right there. Listen, Michigan in those 1-yard situations, they love to run that. They get down, they squeeze tight, they run straight ahead. It's almost a dive play. But Corum there improvises. He jumps out a gap, sees the seam, and then he is gone because all the defenders from Maryland had gotten sucked inside with the quick snap.
22 seconds remaining in the first half. Moody with the extra point. Good. How about Blake Corum? 13 carries. 132 yards. And now his first touchdown of the game. He had 5 touchdowns to tie a single-game record last week against UConn.
Well, they better get in there at halftime and thank Blake Corum because Gus, the way that this first half has gone, he's been by far the best contributor for Michigan, and Mike Locksley knows it. They played so well in this first half outside of really 2 plays. That one right there at the end of the half, Corum gets loose, and then you had the fumbled kickoff on the opening kickoff, which led to an immediate touchdown. Other than that, Maryland has really dominated this game for large stretches with their offense, certainly their offensive line, their defense. The coverage has been terrific down the field, but it's just those little lapses. It's 2 of them. The turnover on the kickoff, boom, touchdown. Then a quick snap on 4th down, and Corum, a great athlete, jump cut, and he's gone, and Michigan has the lead.
So Jake Moody will send it away. Ty Felton, the deep man. And Felton picks it up in his own end zone and will take it out. Felton with a lane. And Felton crosses the 20, gets up to the 24-yard line. At the half, Rob Stone, Brady Quinn, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, and Coach Meyer are standing by with the State Farm halftime show right here from Michigan Stadium. 17-13, Michigan leading Maryland. Wolverines, 4th-ranked team in the country. And I have to say, on both sides of the football, Wolverines have looked a little flat here in this first half.
Yeah, outside of number 2, right?
Exactly.
I mean, he's basically done it for him. And, boy, that was an outstanding run on 4th down.
Corum has 8 rushing touchdowns this season, leads FBS. Littleton. When these 2 teams met last year, Michigan led at 24-3 at the half. And they will head into the locker room, both teams. Our score, 17-13. Wolverines on top of the Terps. Don't forget, after the break, join Rob Stone and the guys with the State Farm halftime show right here from Michigan Stadium. Welcome back to Michigan Stadium here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Fox College Football brought to you by AT&T Business. Wolverines with a 17-13 lead as we start the second half. And welcome back, folks. Gus Johnson along with Joel Klatt. Michigan should be really happy that they're leading this game because that Maryland team played excellent football in the first half, and Michigan, aside from Blake Corum, kind of flat offensively and defensively.
Well, you know, we talked about this being a very different Maryland team than what Michigan saw late last year, and I think that they put that on the field. They were great up front with their offensive line. Their secondary played fantastic. J.J. McCarthy had nowhere to go with the football, and Michigan is very fortunate to have this lead. They had the turnover on that opening kickoff, then Corum on the 4th down. That's the only reason they've got this 4-point lead. Let's take a look at our second half connection brought to you by AT&T business, AT&T, 5G, fast, reliable, secure. You look at what they were able to do early, and they get the touchdown off of that turnover on the kickoff. Beautiful job by the motion. It brings that safety inside. Schoonmaker is wide open on the outside, and then they're able to get it done. But Antoine Little, they come right back down. Maryland is able to punch it in. They get that touchdown. They tied the ball game up. They went up at one point 13-10 before Blake Corum. He got loose on a 4th and 1, and Jim Harbaugh loving it, as Corum was really the only bright spot for the Michigan Wolverines there in that first half.
All right, let's go downstairs and check in with Jenny Taft.
Had a chance to catch up with Coach Loxley, and I want to start with all of his message there. Guys, he said other than that touchdown from Blake Corum, you guys talked about it, and that turnover from Tagovailoa, he is pleased with what he's seeing from his team. He said Tagovailoa has found a rhythm. He needs to continue to take what the defense is giving him, and he said, we are in this game. We are not going anywhere. Harbaugh, of course, pleased with Corum, but his message to the team was good fundamental football. I said, what specifically for J.J. McCarthy? Good fundamental football. Take care of the little things. And then, Gus, Joel, how about this? We will be prepared to fight, bite, and scratch our way to get it done.
All right, Jenny, thank you very much. A passionate Jim Harbaugh speaking to his team at halftime. As we take a look at the first half stats for Maryland, Michigan.
That rushing yards for Michigan was Corum and his ability to get loose. And then I thought that the Maryland running attack, they were really good, Gus. I thought
they went away from it.
And they went away from it. They need to get back to it. If I'm Maryland's offense, I'm getting back to the run game, force Michigan to stop me. Michigan on offense, what they've got to do is try to get away, find a way is a better way to put it, for J.J. McCarthy to settle in. He's had a couple of open receivers deep. He's missed them. And then outside of that, Maryland has put all those guys into coverage. Gus, they're doing drop 8 coverage. 8 guys back there, and McCarthy's got nowhere to throw. So guess what you got to do against drop 8? Run them out of it. This has got to be Corum, and more Corum here early in the second half for the Wolverines.
So Michigan won the toss. They deferred. They'll receive the football to start the second half. As Chad Ryland prepares to send it away. Big leg. And this one, a line drive right out of the end zone. So J.J. McCarthy back on the field. In the first half, 11 of 16, 100 yards, a touchdown, no picks. His long was 18 yards.
Got to play cleaner. McCarthy had a couple of wild plays where he was just trying to run around. They've got to clean that up. And then taking the underneath routes is going to be very important. First 3 games, passes down the field, he was 5 of 5. Today, he has just been off just a little bit. It's been a lot of tight ends underneath. But again, if you're going to get soft coverage, you got to take the throws that are in front of you.
First down and 10 of 25. Blake Corum running behind his offensive line on first down. He'll gain 9 yards. Close to a first. Bennett with the tackle. And Corum continues to add to his totals. Prior to that run, 13 carries, 132.
And it's pretty evident that Maryland's philosophy today is going to be like, okay, you can run the ball here, but we're going to force you to do it 10, 12, maybe 13 times down the field and force you to execute more snaps than you want to.
Second down and 1. Corum looking for the first down. Nice stiff arm, picks it up, lowers his shoulder, and gets out of bounds. This kid is amazing. Let me tell you a story about this kid. Blake Corum. He's a legendary strong man with the military-type routine of weight work. During the break in football for COVID in 2020, he hopped on one of his dad's landscaping crews. First down and 10 at the 43. Corum looking. All right, so he hopped on one of his dad's landscaping crews, routinely moving 500 pieces of 50-plus pound sod a day. Said his dad, James, he blows my mind. The stuff he does, his work ethic, it's like, dude, take a break. It's okay. It's all right. Take a break. And that's his father.
Well, look at what he's done today. The chunk plays, 33, 24, 23, 21, 11 yards. This guy can do it all.
On second down, 9, Corum again. crashing forward. Let's go downstairs to Jenny.
Well, normally, Gus, when you use the word stalker, it's not a good thing, right? But that's how Coach Harbaugh describes Blake Corum. He stalks the weight room. He put on 12 extra pounds in the offseason. He's up to 212. And Harbaugh just cannot say enough about him. He said from the moment he got here, he has been what our program stands for. It's all about working hard, always putting forth that effort. He leads by example. And that work in the offseason, well, we're already seeing it on this display today.
Isaiah Gash comes in, number 41. Here's Gash, and he won't pick up the first down. Nicely done by this Maryland defense.
The problem for Michigan is that they have no depth for Corum today with Donovan Edwards out. C.J. Stokes put the ball on the ground there. Dunlap ran out there, then Gash kind of run out there. He's a junior, only 175 pounds. He just gave the ball on basically a straight dive to a 175-pound back on 3rd and 4. Michigan's out of sorts right now offensively, and remember, they've got a couple of young coordinators trying to find their way in terms of play calling for the first time in a Big Ten game.
And for the first time against real competition. So on 4th down, Brad Robbins comes in to punt it away from the 36. Deshaun Jones, the deep man, he signals for the fair catch and has it inside the 10. A 40-yard punt, no return, will step away as the Terps offense come onto the field for the first time. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve. Today's game is featured on the free-to-play Fox Bet Super 6 app. One of the questions in the contest is which team will have the longest play? And how long will that play be, Maryland or Michigan? So the Terps take over for the first time here in the second half. First down at their own 9. Let's see if they go back to that running game with Roman Hemby. Hemby on the give, and Hemby crosses the line, picks up 2, maybe 3 yards on the play. Mozzie Smith is talking to some guys, Joel, in the press area during halftime, and they were saying, Michigan people, that the Michigan defensive lineman can't shed a block.
Well, it didn't look that way early, and there Mozzie Smith is able to shed a block, and he's the guy that you'd be looking at if you're a Michigan fan. Who's going to be the leader up front? Who's going to be the run stuffer? Well, number 58. He's going to have to be your run stuffer.
2nd and 7. Here's another run, and stuffed pretty well. Guess who? Mozzie Smith. They say Mozzie Smith has such potential, has such talent. High side.
And this is that down that a great run defense can put you in. A 3rd down, an opportunity to try to get off the field, and it looks like they're going to bring some pressure.
3rd down and 4.
You've got a single safety deep, and you've got all these guys creeping up towards that line of scrimmage.
Tagovailoa taking his time. On 3rd and 4, here they come. Tagovailoa underneath. Great catch in traffic by Rakim Jarrett. All hands there. He gains 8 yards on 3rd down and 4.
Rakim Jarrett was a 5-star recruit, number 4 wide receiver in the country. He was committed to LSU. He's from the D.C. area, and then all of a sudden, kind of a Christmas present. Guess what he did on signing day? He just flipped to Maryland. Even Coach Loxley was like, it was a surprise to us, and it was like a present under the Christmas tree.
First down to the 23. They'll swing it out. Hemby gets his shoulders squared and pounds forward. R.J. Moten had to hold on, but will gain 15 yards.
Great block by Corey Dyches. Jarrett was out there. Watch Dyches. He's 84. He's going to come out, and then this is the block right there. That block on 20. And he's able to just get a piece of him and then throw his hands up. Didn't block him in the back. And he created that running lane, and they moved the chains.
First down and 10 at the 38. Tagovailoa checks it down. Jarrett with room and gets out of play. Gain about 5. Maybe 6.
You know, the difference between these two offenses today, outside of Corum, who's been individually spectacular, is rhythm. Maryland is in rhythm. The play calling, the quarterback play. Michigan is not. They have not established any rhythm whatsoever.
Here's Tagovailoa running, looking for the first down. It'll be a tad short. Sinister with the tackle after a 3-yard gain.
But it puts them in this manageable third down situation. And then guess who you get in? Antoine Littleton. And now here comes your big 235-pound back. Gus, what have they done in the short yardage? They've hammered away. It gives you the ability to try a play action if you want to, or just give it to them. Let them lean forward for a first down.
Third down and 1 at the 47. Littleton leaning forward. I don't know. That one may be close. That was on the spot.
That was very close.
Mozzie Smith with the tackle.
Mozzie Smith did a great job. Look at that swim move. He's in the backfield, and it just depends on where that ball is and where the knee is. I think they gave him a much better spot than he probably should have gotten. They gave him all the way up to the 48-yard line, and they're going to call it a first down.
First down and 10 at the 48. And they'll swing it out again, this time to the far side. Deitchus wrestled down behind the line of scrimmage by Junior Colson. That's a loss of 1.
Colson can run. Now, this linebacker core, they're faster than what they have been in the past. Now, they're without Nakai Hill-Green, number 41, who has been unable to play so far, and he will make them better as he gets healthy. But Colson there, a great pursuit on the outside to make that tackle.
Sophomore from Brentwood, Tennessee, 2nd and 9. Close to midfield. Jalen Harrell comes on the field late. Here's a pass. Hit as he throws. Incomplete. He put it on the money. Tagovailoa down. And he's in pain.
Mike Morris comes in with the pressure. They had to snap it late, and Morris comes around on this left side of the offense and hits him right down there, right above his left hip. Unable to come down with it. That was Corey Deitchus, number 84. And there's the contact and getting taken to the ground, and he is slow to get up. Let's hope he can get up. Gus, he's playing too well today in Ann Arbor.
Bryce, they let you off campus.
What's going on, Timo?
Because you know when I was the first ever sophomore to win the high school.
Whoa, what's up, Bryce? Go, 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 go.
What's going on here?
Just a little friendly competition, you know.
That's cute, Derek, but the competition was reps.
Just can't read this guy.
Come on, let's go.
For your destiny!
Before we begin, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Liberty Mutual. They customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. And by switching, you could even save $652. Thank you, Liberty Mutual. Now, contestants ready? Go!
Oh my God! Why?
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Matthew, Little Caesars is now the official pizza of the NFL.
Let's hear it.
Pizza, pizza.
Again.
Pizza, pizza.
Pizza, pizza. No!
Pizza, pizza!
We're ready!
Enjoy game day with the Fanceroni Pepperoni with over 100 Old World pepperonis.
Pizza, pizza.
Your avocado toast.
Yeah. When the only thing your 8-year-old will eat is waffles, it matters where you stay. Yum. Enjoy. Thank you. Hampton by Hilton. Hilton for the stay.
What exactly is your relationship, Dama?
I work for the massive cleaning lady. And sometimes they send me do other things.
That's a lot of responsibility for a maid.
No one pays attention to the cleaning lady. Everything I do for my son.
The Cleaning Lady, all new Monday at 9 after 911 on Fox.
Saturday, it's baseball night in America on Fox. With the NL East title up for grabs, Lindor and the Mets battle Acuna Jr. and the Braves. It's baseball night in America next Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox.
So Billy Edwards comes in to play quarterback, redshirted at Wake Forest last season, but did not play there, then transferred to Maryland. Tagovailoa grabbing his midsection. He was taken into the tent. Now he's out of the tent. As for Edwards, he's seen limited action this season, going 4 for 4, including his first career touchdown pass against Charlotte. And Edwards feeling the pressure. Jayden Harrell. So that'll force Maryland to punt the ball 4th and 9.
That's a great adjustment at halftime from Michigan's defense. Maryland ran a couple of screens really well and effective, and there's a hit for Billy Edwards on a screen. Remember, you're going to let that rush come to you. But Michigan was ready for it, and there on a big down, on a 3rd down, they immediately played man defense in order to have that screen intended receiver covered up right away.
Terps send it away. Henning at the 10 with the fair catch. 41-yard punt. But so far for the Wolverines, it's been all Blake Corum. Look at him. As Keith Jackson would say, he's been rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling to success. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Ram Trucks. Built to serve. And by Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. Welcome back, 17-13. Here's an interesting storyline concerning Michigan. Josh Gaddis, the offensive coordinator last year, left to go to the University of Miami. And now Michigan has 2 offensive coordinators, co-coordinators, Matt Weiss and Jerome Moore. And the question is, who calls the plays? They won't really tell you as Corum runs the football here. But when you look at Michigan today, they look flat. They look out of sync. Would you say that that has anything to do with having too many cooks in the kitchen, partner?
Well, I mean, you could tell that I was like, okay, yeah, but like, who has veto power, right? And they were like, well, no one has veto power. I was like, no, really. Like, when the rubber meets the road, who calls the plays? And they were like, well, we both do. I'm like, no. That works against UConn. But like on 3rd down tomorrow, who calls the plays? And couldn't get an answer, and that's the way it's looked. I'm a firm believer. Listen, I'm the son of a coach. I'm a firm believer. I played quarterback position. You've got to have somebody that has the voice of authority in establishing the rhythm for your offense. And right now, Sharon Moore and Matt Weiss are having a hard time finding that rhythm. Who's calling the plays, and how is that rhythm being established?
A problem for that man. 3rd down and 8 at the 12. Blake Corum in the backfield. McCarthy. Passing situation. Here he is. McCarthy looking. Nobody. McCarthy! And he's sacked. Great coverage sack as Gavin Gibson finally gets in there, and Michigan continues to struggle with their passing game.
Coverage, again, is fantastic. It's just heavy zone coverage. Okay, this time they rushed 4. They've got 7 back in coverage, and they're just playing terrific zone coverage, running with wide receivers. They're trying to just run guys right through, run the seams, 3 deep, 1 underneath. The problem is that no one's finding an open area, working back to the quarterback. It's not the right concept for the coverage, and McCarthy's got nowhere to go with the ball.
Right now, it seems like young J.J. McCarthy does not have that timing in his head, knowing when to get rid of the football when the pressure comes. This ball caught at the 32-yard line. Jones, and he'll get out of bounds. 7-yard return. 17-13. Let's see if Talia comes back on the field for quarterback of the Maryland Terrapins. Don't forget, You can find all of Joel's Breaking the Huddle content, including his weekly top 10 rankings at foxsports.com, the Fox Sports app, and CFB on Fox social platforms.
There's so much to talk about in college football. It's been so great to be Breaking the Huddle. Throwing out the podcast this year as well, the Joel Klatt Show. You can go download that. You laughing over
Yeah. You're all over the place. You're Howard Stern over here. First down at King of All Media at the 44. Tagovailoa back in the game. Littleton in the backfield. Play fake. Tagovailoa steps up in the pocket, wants to run it, and is tripped up. Great job. Mike Morris gets to him. Let's quickly check in with Jenny.
Well, great to see Tagovailoa back in this game. He was so hyped up. First of all, he was reluctant to even go in the medical tent. They made him go in. He never sat down. He said, I'm ready to go, get back out there with my guys. And his message right before he ran out, they tried to hurt me. Let's go. And by the way, Gus, how about you and I start a podcast?
That's right. You know, what are we, chopped liver over here, Jenny? Joel gets everything. 2nd and 9 at the 45.
Hey, let's open it up. Let's smell that new car smell. Do it.
Tagovailoa in trouble. Tagovailoa. And he wisely just throws the ball out of bounds. Junior Colson with pressure.
But it wasn't for a while, was it? I mean, great protection. And again, very much like the Maryland secondary, now the Michigan secondary, nowhere to go with the ball for Talia, and he has to hold it. You know, when you get this, what you got to start doing is bracketing defenders. You got to run old school stuff like curl flat. You know, you run a curl route 10 yards up there and somebody in the flat. You've got to take one defender and bracket them to make them wrong, whether it's high-low or side to side.
3rd down and 9 of the 45. Great opportunity for the Michigan defense to get off the field. Tagovailoa under pressure. Breaks it. Looking. Fires. Incomplete. Broken up by Sainristil still. And Maryland will have to punt it away. And there's an injured Terp on the field.
I think that's Rakim Jarrett who was involved going up for that pass. First, the pressure. This is Yabi Oki, a transfer. He's been at now his 4th school, including Alabama and UT Martin. He pressures the quarterback there, and then you see at the end, Sainristil as well as Jarrett go up for the ball, and Jarrett lands hard right on that left shoulder, and he's still down. I mean, the immediate hope when you're a teammate of someone in that situation, you're immediately just hoping that the wind got knocked out of him. And let's hope that's the case with Rakim Jarrett. 6 foot, 190 from Landover, Maryland. An excellent player. Gatorade DC Player of the Year in high school as a senior. 60 catches, 950 yards. A 5-star player out of high school. The 27th ranked high school player in the country coming out.
They help him get up.
That's good to see right there. Very good to see.
Get down hard on that shoulder. Good to see him jogging off the field. You're absolutely right.
Well, that Michigan defense finally got a little pressure dialed up on Tagovailoa. That time, again, it was Yabi Oki, quick twitch guy, and provided some pressure, and it was Sainristil in the back end that defended the pass.
So Spangler will punt it away. He stands at his own 30. A.J. Henning is the deep man inside the 15. Left-footed punter. And it's fair caught at the 15. The biggest sporting event on the planet returns to Fox Sports, and for the first time ever, it's taking over the holiday season. The FIFA World Cup begins November 20th on Fox and FS1. The Americans look pretty good. Got a lot of speed on that American team. Jenny,
you know, she's
going away.
Yeah, she's going to Spain.
She's going to Spain.
Tonight.
Tonight?
Tonight.
Jenny's going to Spain tonight.
Jenny's going to Spain tonight.
Guys, my bags are packed. I got one job. We're doing it right now. And then I'm going to rush to the airport and do a different one.
I love it.
Gosh. First down and 10 at the 15. Here's McCarthy throwing on first down over the middle. Finds his tight end, Luke Schoonmaker, who's had a bunch of catches today.
Yep.
Schoonmaker, that was his 6th catch for over 50 yards. Gains 8.
And if you want to throw the ball, that's the exact style of concept. You run everybody on just a quick curl route, 5-6 yards out there, and you flood basically the underneath zones. If they're going to play heavy zone coverage, you flood those zones. You pick your best matchup, and you create a completion.
2nd and 2. McCarthy sprints out, throws on the move. Nicely done, out of bounds. Ronnie Bell with the catch. Gains 19.
And that's a beautiful job and a concept where you're running the outside receiver deep. That corner is going to go deep with him. You move the pocket. McCarthy goes out to his right side, and then you just bring someone and just fold them into that free area that you just created a void with the deep route. That time it's Ronnie Bell, and it's an easy completion.
First down and 10 at the 42. Corum with space. But you know, you got to give a lot of credit to this Maryland defense. They've been coached and prepared extremely well for this game.
Brian Williams is their defensive coordinator, Gus, and he has done a heck of a job. So he called the defensive plays for the last 2 games of last year, and they improved dramatically in those 2 games. They thought that they had Kevin Steele hired as a defensive coordinator. It didn't work out, and so Brian got the full-time gig under Mike Loxley, and they've been so much better this year. And this defense, which gave up a ton of points early last year, has been terrific today.
Here's McCarthy to throw it. Winds up, goes deep. Incomplete. Needed a little air under that one. Andrell Anthony, the speedster, the target.
So every one of those deep passes today have been long. And I've always thought that the best way to throw the deep pass with touch as a quarterback is just like a great three-point shooter. If you can keep your eyes on the target rather than follow the ball, generally you get much better touch and the ball will fall right in there. Like a great shooter will keep his eyes on the rim. Quarterback needs to keep his eyes on the target.
3rd down and 2. Can they get the first down? Yes. Lake Corum.
You know who gave me that tip? Who? Cordell Stewart. Wow. And Michigan fans, throw something at the TV.
If you're still watching this game because you haven't put your foot through the television.
That's right. That's right.
Cordell Stewart. And that magical play. First down. At the 46. Corum again. Bottled up. And he will not get back to the line of scrimmage. Nicely done by Greg China Rose. It's a loss of 1 on the play.
You know, McCarthy is not seeing it very well. Okay, he's watching this end. McCarthy is reading that. That ball has got to be in McCarthy's hands. He's got to take that. That end crashed down. China Rose crashed down. Corum's got no chance because that's an unblocked player. I think that's a young quarterback trying to make up his mind before the snap. He's got to read that out.
2nd down and 11. McCarthy looking underneath, caught Schoonmaker, and a first down. And Joel, I mentioned in the first half, we didn't see a lot of crossing routes. We're seeing a little bit more of them here in the second half.
Well, they get away with one here. Watch Henning. He's going to actually come up and block the safety who's in man coverage on Schoonmaker. Boom, right there. There's the contact. That's why he's so wide open. Then he gets loose over there on that left side as it's an easy completion for McCarthy.
Career-high 7th reception for Schoonmaker. First down and 10 at the 33. Here's JJ, dumps it off. Another tight end with the catch, Bredesen. And Bredesen close to a first down as Trader pushes him out of play.
These tight ends doing work. Schoonmaker clearly doing the bulk of the work. 7 for 72, but Bredesen now has a couple of catches. And you're starting to see, Gus, what did we say they didn't have at the beginning of the series? Rhythm. Now we're starting to see some rhythm out of the offensive play calling, the quarterback play, and that's exactly what Jim Harbaugh needed and wanted out of his offense here late in the third quarter. We go to the fourth. Michigan up by 4, 17-13.
Big Noon Saturday, sponsored by AT&T Business. Very interesting game today, folks. This Michigan team came in undefeated, 3-0 in all their games. They've scored 50 or more points. Not today. This Maryland defense came to play. 2nd and 4 at 27. Here's a handoff to Corum. He's been a bright light for the Michigan offense as he picks up another first down. Right now he's got a career high in rushing yards. He had 171 against Washington early last year. And today, Corum just went over 171. He's got 176.
But this is more impressive because they had to have it. You know, last year he was sharing a lot of that with Hassan Haskins. Like, he's carried them for large stretches of today's game.
1st and 10 to the 20-yard line. McCarthy fires. Caught. Touchdown, Michigan. Roman Wilson. Now the Wolverines starting to find a little grease.
Well, this is what speed will do for you, and Roman Wilson has it. You're going to work on a single safety. There's the safety in the back end, but watch Roman Wilson. He's just going to run right across his face. Look at the speed right here. He just takes off. Great protection by the offensive line, and that was a beautiful throw by J.J. McCarthy. On the money, allows him to run to that pylon, and he's in the end zone.
Would that be considered a crossing route?
Sure. Deeper crossing route. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So now the offensive coordinators have found something. Largest lead for the Wolverines today as they go on a 10-play, 85-yard drive and extend their lead over Maryland. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years. 110,225, the 304th consecutive game of over 100,000 fans here at Michigan Stadium. 10-play, 85-yard drive, 4:45. Wilson, 20-yard touchdown catch. We're feeling a little bit better here in Ann Arbor right now. Moody leans into it. Ty Felton lets it go into the end zone for a touchback.
The Pacific Life game summary sponsored by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years. This was the opening kickoff right off the face mask for Maryland, and it ended in a touchdown on the very next play. Schoonmaker in the end zone from McCarthy. Then it was the Blake Corum show for Michigan. He really kept them in this game. He was electric. A 4th and 1 carry that wound up in the end zone inside of a minute there in the second quarter. And then that last touchdown, a beautiful strike from McCarthy to Roman Wilson.
And on first down, Hemby. Maryland, a field goal, a touchdown, a field goal on its first 3 possessions. Since then, 3 punts and a turnover.
This defense has played much better, and in particular up front. You got to give Mozzie Smith, 58, a lot of credit, as well as some of their pass rushers who've gotten loose and gotten after Talia Tagovailoa a few times.
Second down, another run. Hemby.
There he is again.
As he crosses the line of scrimmage, you're right. Mozzie Smith with the tackle, gain of 2.
This is what leadership is. You know, we go in every week, you and Ginny and I, we talk to these coaches and we say, who are your leaders? Who are your guys? Who are your alphas? And they give us names. They all said Mozzie Smith. Why? Well, when they needed it most, he has stepped up and played his best football today, in particular in run defense.
3rd down and 2 at the 33. Looking for the first down. Hemby, and he'll get it. Roman Hemby, redshirt freshman from Edgewood, Maryland, John Carroll High School, gains 4. Colson makes the tackle. Himby, 12 carries, 33 yards.
You know, he came in averaging 9 yards per carry, so he has been kept in check somewhat. The guy who's done the bulk of the damage, in particular because it's been in the short yardage, has been Antoine Littleton, who's averaging over 5 yards a pop and has scored that touchdown in the run game.
First down to the 37. Himby pushes the pile forward. Stopped by Chris Jenkins. Will gain 5.
You know, they're hammering away with this run game, and they've stayed committed in part so that they can retain the ability to throw play-action pass. And at some point here, you know that that's going to come up, and they're going to threaten these defensive backs from Michigan.
4 straight runs for Maryland. Tagovailoa backing up. Quick release, caught by Octavian Smith Jr., but he's dropped immediately after a 4-yard gain.
Nice tackle from Braden McGregor, but brings up another short yardage situation, and Littleton, 31, tailback, back in the game. Michigan has really had no answer for him in the short yardage. But again, this is where that play action, Gus, just a little fake, you could find someone wide open down the field.
3rd down and 1. Looking for the first, and he won't get it. Littleton met behind the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Michael Barrett right there.
Barrett, a great play, as well as 55. Mason Graham, a freshman. Look at 55 getting in there. Barrett comes from the edge, but Graham, he stood up the center and was in there. And now Maryland staying on the field in their own territory, going forward on 4th down.
4th down and 1. 2 of 2 on 4th down conversions for Maryland this year. Tagovailoa guns it, and they'll pick it up. Nicely done. Ty Felton on the hitch. Mike Sanders still brings him down, but they pick up the 1st down.
Well, there was just so much cushion there on the edge, and Michigan was a little bit confused with the coverage that they were trying to run. But look at Sanders is way off in coverage, and they just pitch it out there, and that is an easy 4th and 1 completion, number 1, and then the ability to move the chains. That's a great call from Maryland.
1st down for the Terps at midfield. Tagovailoa. And caught by his tight end, Dyches. Dyches down the sideline. And Dyches finally hauled down at the Michigan 5 after a 43-yard gain.
I tell you what, this throw is unbelievable from Tagovailoa. This guy is hobbling. You can see him limping. He has not been right since he left the game, like a bit of a hip injury. He's trying to roll to his left. Watch as he's just gingerly rolling, and then he's got to flip those shoulders around, and he drops a little touch pass over Mike Sainrissil right into Dyches' arms, and they're down inside the 10. What a great throw.
1st down and goal to the 6-yard line. 10 minutes to play in the 4th. Himby, the pistol back. They give it to him, Himby, and he'll get inside the Michigan 5.
I am so impressed with this Maryland team. From what we saw in the middle of last year to what they are now, they are dramatically different. Remember, in their last 16 games, they're 10-6. Coach Loxley took over a program that was not very good, and they have just gotten better and better and better and better. And the next step for them was to come into a place like Michigan in their division to a great quality opponent and play really well, and that's what they've done so far today.
2nd down and goal at the 4. Tagovailoa surveying, drops it off, touchdown Maryland. Ty Felton. Wonderful execution by this Maryland offense. They go 10 plays, 75 yards.
They got the crossing routes, Gus. Why? Because you got man coverage from Michigan. So watch all these Michigan Wolverines. They're trying to follow their man around. They hit the ground. He's wide open, and Maryland's in the end zone. What a great series. That completion rolling to his left from Tagovailoa, that was sensational. And now they'll stay on the field and try for the 2-point attempt.
24-19. 2-point conversion. Here we go. Empty backfield for Tagovailoa. Looking, scrambling, inside, and picked off by Sainristil. So they don't convert. But more importantly, Maryland right back in this game. Talia finds Felton. All of a sudden, Michigan huffing and puffing as the Terps are right back in at 24-19. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Hampton by Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Last time Maryland beat a top 5 ranked team was so long ago they weren't even in the Big Ten. As a member of the ACC, the Terps upset number 5 Florida State at home 20-17. Michael Locksley, you have to give him so much credit for what he's done with this program. I mean, he's a terrific coach.
They've recruited so well, but it's more than just recruiting. You know, I think that he gets almost a bad rap as just a great recruiter, because this team, they are solid on both sides of the ball. And by the way, last week they had 15 penalties for over 140 yards.
No penalties today.
None today. You know what that tells me? He walked in and he challenged his team. In fact, during the team meeting, you know what he did? He put on the television copy of the tape, and he played the audio, what the announcers were saying. He put up tweets about what people were saying about his players and the lack of discipline that they played with. And he said he felt like that message was communicated loud and clear, and that their practices were much more disciplined. That's exactly what we've seen from his team so far today.
Terps couldn't get a better man. Here's McCarthy. Lines up. Can he get it? Incomplete. Anthony again.
Pass incomplete.
Let's go downstairs to Jenny.
Well, and I love that story that Joel just shared, just about the discipline, and Coach Locksley telling us he really believed that they would come in as with a different mindset today, and just now telling his guys, we are right there. That was the answer we needed. We are not done. He told us that he has been quietly confident about this group, and just the culture change, we are seeing it on display. These guys are not done at all today.
All right, thank you, Jenny. 2nd and 10 of the 25 for Michigan. McCarthy, sideline throw, got it. Ronnie Bell out of bounds. What does a culture change really mean?
Well, see, here's what the coach. Yes, you're the head coach of the team, you know, but people think that like the coach kind of owns the team. No. Ownership of the team resides within the locker room. And in order for the locker room to change, for the locker room to be a committed locker room, the culture has to change. You go by the 80-10-10 theory of group dynamics. You're going to have 10% that are great people, 10% that are going to bring you down, and the 80% in the middle, they'll follow the loudest group. A culture change means your leaders, those top 10%, get it done.
And this ball caught. Ronnie Bell inside the 25. 48 yards. Finally, McCarthy put it on the money.
Great release from Ronnie Bell. Look at that little move, just the suddenness for Bell. He tore that knee up the first game of last season, and he worked hard in rehab. The coaches told us he's faster, he's quicker, and he's stronger than even before the injury. And Harbaugh knows that that's the type of guy that can spur and key a moment that is key in this game, like a fourth quarter big completion, which he does right there.
7 catches, 96 yards last week against Connecticut. Michigan in business now. 1st and 10 at the Maryland 22. And they'll go with Corum on the ground. And he'll gain 3.
And you said it, Gus. That was the first one that they've been able to connect down the field. I told you in the open that McCarthy in this offense, it was going to be different, and that they were going to be able to attack down the field. They've tried. He's just missed. And there, for the first time today, he's able to stand up and throw a strike down the field to Ronnie Bell.
McCarthy, 18 of 25, 220 yards, and a touchdown. Corum stacked up, no gain. First man to him, Najee Gote.
Good defense. Great defense. This Maryland team was giving up a ton of yards to Corum during the course of today's ball game. And there, when they needed it the most, They just held up. This is where they need it. They need to hold up right here. Force that field goal. Even with a field goal, they're still down by only a possession if they can get a 2-point conversion after a touchdown. This is a critical down.
6:47 to go. 3rd and 8 of the 20. Corum in the backfield with McCarthy. Here's JJ. Going through his progressions. Intercepted in the end zone. And now they're going to say he wasn't in bounds. That ball thrown late across the field. Trader couldn't get a foot down.
And again, the coverage is fantastic. When Michigan has tried to just use straight drop back, this zone coverage has been sensational. McCarthy was trying to get that ball to Ronnie Bell, but you can see that foot clearly comes down out of bounds, and right when it hits the pylon, that pylon is out of bounds. And so when you're in the air, you touch that pylon, it's out.
So Moody 1 for 2 today, good from 52. He missed a 43-yarder. This one from 38 yards away. And perfect. So Michigan takes a 27-19 lead. 6:30 to go in the 4th. A lot of football in front of us, folks. And Maryland, they're not afraid. And welcome back to Ann Arbor. Michigan leading Maryland here deep in the 4th quarter, 27-19, as the Wolverines prepare to send it away. Ty Felt in the deep man. Moody 2 for 3 today. Tied his career high earlier with a 52-yarder. Just nailed a 38-yarder. Felt will let this one go into the end zone for a touchback. Now, if you can win $1 million for free, why wouldn't you try it? Just get your phone out now and download Fox Bet Super 6 for free. All it takes is 6 correct picks in tomorrow's NFL Sunday Challenge contest, and you could win $1 million of Terry Bradshaw's money.
Well, this is exactly the situation that Maryland hoped to be in, even after Michigan found a little bit of rhythm here in a one-possession game late in the 4th quarter on the road.
1st down and 10 at the 25 for the Terps. They'll run it on 1st down. Hemby. And Hemby gets across the 30. Junior Colson stops him. He gains 6.
You know, the things that have been effective for Maryland is the ability to run the ball on 1st down, and then trying to execute when Michigan runs man coverage. They've got those crossing routes going, and then the screen pass has been dangerous for them so far today.
2nd down at 4. Tagovailoa lets it go and intercepted. What a pick, R.J. Moten. He tipped it to himself. Oski. What a play.
That's a sensational play by Moten, and Tagovailoa's not going to want to see this film. He has got a wide open receiver screaming across the middle of the field right here, and he's forcing it to double coverage on the right side. Wide open. That's a 1st down and more. Right in the middle of the field if he hits Jayshon Jones. He's forcing it to Copeland. And how about Moten? Whew. The concentration. Tip drill. Oski going the other way. Great play, but Dan Enos, the offensive coordinator, knows that his quarterback left a huge completion out in the middle of the field.
2 interceptions today for Tagovailoa. And Michigan will take that one. R.J. Moten with the cool shades on.
Oh, those are the buffs right there?
He's got the Cartiers going.
How about that?
Yeah, about that. So Michigan taking over. Corum. And the Wolverines would love nothing more than to really establish a running game right now with 5:47 to go. That's a gain of 7. Barham with the tackle.
It's about ball security now for the Michigan Wolverines, and the guy you want handling the ball is right there, number 2, Blake Corum. 26 carries, 185 yards, both career highs, averaging 7 a pop. He's got that touchdown. He's been sensational today.
Second down and 3. at the 42. Corum again. And a first down.
Well, Maryland's going to have to just send the house. They're going to have to commit all their resources to stopping the run. Pretty soon they won't have any safeties back there. It'll just be straight man coverage, and they're going to have everybody up there at the line of scrimmage in order to stop number 2. There's Brian Williams, the defensive coordinator. His unit has played really well today, but they got to come up and stop this run now.
First down and 10 at the 47-yard line for the Wolverines in no rush with a 27-19 lead. Submarining forward as he crosses midfield in front of Barham, who chopped him down. 5-yard gain.
And now what you see is J.J. McCarthy, who's doing a nice job so far of being in what's called 4-minute offense, milk the clock mode. So what he's going to do is just kind of slow play it the whole time, and then he's going to get his offense up to the line of scrimmage. There's 20 now on the play clock. And with the game clock also moving, he's not going to want to snap this until it gets inside of 4 seconds on that play clock at the earliest.
Maryland with all 3 of their timeouts. Michigan with 3 timeouts as well. 2nd and 5 at the 48. Corum on the give. Corum gets a yard. And now a timeout called by Maryland. These fans have been bringing it all day here in Ann Arbor. Wolverines 3:36 away from win number 4.
You can't stop me, 'cause my pain is 1, 2, 3.
27-19, Michigan leading Maryland. 3:40 remaining in the 4th quarter. Wolverines trying to milk the clock here. McCarthy gives it to Corum, hits the edge. Corum down the sideline. Blake Corum does it again. 47 yards. The little big man. Carries, 243 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns for Blake Corum.
And twice today we've seen in short yardage situations when they had to have it, they gave it to Corum right in the middle, and then he made those explosive jump cuts outside, and he was able to take it the distance. And there Maryland has to commit all their resources to stopping that run play, and Corum makes him pay.
Extra point up and good. 34-19 Michigan. This kid has been spectacular.
Gus, there are players in this sport that I call above the X's and O's players. They're special. It doesn't matter what's going on. They find a way to have success. And right there was no reason, based on the way Maryland was playing that play, that you could hand the ball off and get a touchdown. And Mike Loxley knows it. Look, he's like, what's going on? We got to stay outside. We got to have contain. Well, guess what? Blake Corum makes you pay. And they made one small mistake. Bo Braid, number 25, the safety, jumped inside to stop that run play. And a guy that's above the X's and O's, he just has a nice jump cut, and he's down the sideline. And there's Donovan Edwards, his backfield mate. A little love from Jim Harbaugh. And let's call a spade a spade. You know, Michigan has not looked great today outside of Blake Corum. You know, there's been flashes here and there. They've had a little bit of pass rush at times. The secondary came up with a couple of plays. But mostly, Gus, it's been Blake Corum keeping him in the game. And they're putting what seems to be the seal on this potential Michigan victory.
Blake Corum is the first Michigan running back with over 200 yards rushing since Karan Higdon did it in 2017.
Some great blocking up front, in particular early. And Corum had some large lanes to run through, protecting the football. Love how he protects the ball. That was the run right before half. And then here's the last one. Those jump cuts, the ability to just suck the defense into the middle of the field and then just bounce outside so quickly. He's got such strong legs, workout warrior, but he's also got the speed to take it the distance.
Now in the game, Billy Edwards tucks it, runs it, and is chopped down right before he gets to the first down marker. Tagovailoa out of the game with 3:15 to go. What do you think the decision went into making this decision for Coach Loxley?
I think that he's not fully healthy. We've seen him limping around here in the second half ever since he got hit and came out of the game. There's Tagovailoa. Mike Morris hit him earlier in the game, and he just has not been healthy. And in this situation, you're going to expose your quarterback to hits because you're in a passing situation almost every single down.
First down and 10 at the 36. They'll get out of bounds as Dyches makes the catch.
You know, and I know that people might point to that last interception. And yes, listen, I showed it to you. He made the wrong read. He forced the ball, tried to force it deep to Jacob Copeland. He should have hit his wide receiver coming across the middle. But other than that, you know, he's played really well today.
Edwards in trouble. Edwards and sacked. Mike Sainristil, the converted wide receiver who's standing out on defense this year for Michigan.
It was a bit of a slow blitz, slow developing. And then once he saw an opening, he turned on the jets.
Please reset the game.
Got all the way to Billy Edwards. And we just want to remind everybody of that amazing feature that we aired during our pregame in the kickoff. This is Michi. Tom Rinaldi, of course, so talented, told us the story of Michi. Michi has osteosarcosis, and here is a GoFundMe. You all have done an amazing job already today supporting Michi and his family. We ask you to continue to do so. And if you haven't seen that story, go check it out, because what Tom did was remarkable, telling that story of a remarkable young man and a phenomenal family.
Third down and 13. Billy Edwards off his back foot, incomplete. Had a lot of pressure in his face. That'll bring up 4th and 13. Edwards to the sideline and caught.
Good throw.
Nice throw. Good catch. Jacob Copeland. And Maryland's still alive.
Copeland went way down to get it. That's a beautiful catch. Good protection up front as well.
Bobbled snap. Edwards throws it deep and incomplete. Ball intended for Ty Felton.
Going to bring in a whole new defensive line, trying to get fresh pass rushers on the field, including a guy that I think could be, you know, at the end of the year, we might look up and we might see a guy like Yabi Oki. I think he might be this year's Ajabo. Remember how we didn't really know David Ajabo at this point last year, and this is a guy that he could be that guy. We'll see if he can get after the passer here.
2nd and 10 at midfield.
False start. Offense number 74. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And after 15 penalties last week, that's the first penalty against Maryland today.
And if they continue to play that way, disciplined, and lower their number of penalties, they're going to beat a lot of teams this year. You know, I've been impressed with what I've seen from this Maryland team so far.
Terps at home against Michigan State next week. Wolverines will travel to Iowa City. And Mike Morris getting in the backfield for the sack, a loss of 6.
Boy, we've seen him get loose a couple of times, and he is a big fella, 6'6", 292 pounds, a senior from down in Florida. And we saw him get to Leah earlier in the game there, to Billy Edwards, and this pass rush, when they need it, it has showed up here late in the game.
Now, after the game, join Rob Stone and the guys with Coca-Cola College Football Extra right here from Michigan Stadium. How about Duke and Kansas, two basketball schools having great starts to their football season. Penn State, number 14, went down to Auburn last week and took care of the Auburn Tigers. Clemson Wake in a thriller.
I like that Penn State team. That young running back, we saw him week 1 against Purdue. Nick Singleton, he's a heck of a player. They come here to Ann Arbor in a few weeks. Of course, Michigan next week goes to Iowa. Gus, you and I and Jenny will be there in Iowa City, and that one should be really good. That one should be really good. Jenny's going to Spain, by the way, and she's coming back to Iowa. She'll be back. Don't worry.
She's double dipping.
Yeah, that's
I wouldn't miss this with you guys. This is the highlight of my week.
Yeah, Jenny, I heard you're also leaving to go to do the World Cup, and you're going to leave us through the middle of the season.
Oh, boy. Gus, we'll deal with it when we have to.
You out. 3rd down and 21. Edwards in trouble. Steps up. He'll run it. Edwards with a lot of space. And Billy Edwards out of bounds. Nice run. On 3rd down and 21, he gains 24.
We've seen that a couple of times today, whether it's Talia Tagovailoa or now Billy Edwards, where that pass rush gets a little bit loose and they get outside of their lanes, and the defensive backs are so far down the field that they give up those big runs from the quarterback. And they have got to capitalize when they get the rush home and get him down to the ground in the pocket.
1st down at the Michigan 38, 1:51 to go. Edwards standing strong in the pocket over the middle. Great throw. And this one caught by Jayshon Jones. A 22-yard gain. Edwards showing some signs here.
Yeah, he really stepped up and made a nice throw, because there was some contact there with him in the back of that pocket, and he still made an accurate throw across the middle.
Edwards goes through his progressions in the corner. Incomplete, broken up. Jones the target. Makari Page there defensively for the Wolverines.
I really like what Billy Edwards has come in and been able to do. You know, in high school, he threw for over 5,000 yards, 59 touchdowns, almost ran for 1,000 yards. This is a guy that is talented, transferred in from Wake Forest, and you can see that he's got some talent and making some nice throws here late in this ball game.
2nd and 10. Billy Edwards drops it down, caught by Hemby. And Hemby crosses the line of scrimmage, and Sanders still brings him down immediately after a 1-yard gain.
I'm still just floored by how complete of a defender Mike Sainristil is. Really, I mean, you're not supposed to just move from offense to defense and be this good. Great open field tackle.
Edwards in trouble. Edwards running and sacked from behind. Great job by Derek Moore, the freshman from Baltimore, Maryland. Loss of 3. Maryland out of timeouts. 4th down and 12. Edwards in the end zone. Touchdown, Terrapins. What a job. Dupree with the score, but there is a flag.
Offside. Defense number 18. Penalties declined. Result of play. Touchdown.
You're going to see Khalil Mullins, and he's out of position, and then the tight end's just going to sneak right down the middle of the field. Edwards astutely sees it and delivers a great ball through it, drove it right in between those 3 defenders, right to the goal line. And an excellent catch by Dupree with concentration through contact in the end zone.
Terps refusing to quit. Now they'll go for 2. Down 34-25. So Michigan calls their first time out of the second half.
Boy, you got to love the fight for this Maryland team. Regardless of how this thing ends, you know, you look forward now for them in October. They've got Michigan State on FS1, Purdue, Indiana, Northwestern, Wisconsin. And Gus, judging by the way that they've played, there's not a game on that list that you wouldn't say, hey, they could potentially win that game, or in some cases even should and will win those games. You know, they should kick this extra point, because if they kick the extra point, then it's a one-score game. But if they fail here, it's a two-score game. So you're putting the game on the line right here. This is the game for Maryland.
Edwards, empty backfield. Drops it off. Caught. And they will get the two-point conversion with Jayshon Jones. Tell you what, Joel, under Billy Edwards, they moved that ball up the field very quickly.
Yeah, and he got through those progressions really quickly, which is exactly what I'm sure that they were screaming at Talia Tungabailoa about. Their great adjustment from Jayshon Jones, reaching back behind him and corralling that ball. He's a guy that is coming back from 2 ACLs. He hurt his knee last year, the game after Dante Demas, and so he didn't play against Michigan, and now he's able to get in there on the two-point conversion. And here Maryland is, and now we got the onside kick. And I agree, Billy Edwards has come in. I thought that it was just an injury thing, but it could have been after that interception from Talia. I think they may have pulled him, because Billy Edwards came in there and played really well, moving him down the field, putting him in the end zone.
14-play drive covering 75 yards. They score in 2 minutes and 46 seconds. 45 seconds remaining. No timeouts remaining for the Terps. Now they'll put the all-hands team in for the Wolverines. Blake Corum out there. Here comes the onside kick. And it's recovered by Michigan. Colston Loveland scooped it up. And with 44 seconds remaining, Michigan will come in and be in victory formation.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't as pretty as what some Michigan fans wanted, but it's going to get the job done in the Big Ten against a vastly improved Maryland team. There is a lot to work on for this Michigan offense in particular, and a lot of it starts with rhythm. I think they still got to figure out those play calling duties, because it was hit or miss at times, wasn't it?
Yes. But they got better in the second half.
They did.
I'm sure Jim Harbaugh will build on that. Coach Harbaugh finally bringing a championship to this program after a long time, 58 years old. Remember that 2020 COVID season devastated the program, but they responded. And Michigan remains undefeated, 4-0. Fourth-ranked team in the nation as they defeat a determined Maryland squad, 34-27. Up next for the Wolverines, the Iowa Hawkeyes in a rematch of the Big Ten championship from last year. This game in Iowa City. Michigan will be on the road for the next two. Let's go downstairs to Jenny.
Guys, thanks so much. Coach Harbaugh said we'll chat, but we have to grab this guy as well, Blake Corum. The reason we're talking to you as well, you had a career day.
Talk to you right here. This guy was a stud today. What a game, what a game. Great job.
Tell me about this guy, what he brings to the team.
He's the consummate He's a consummate worker, team guy all the way. I mean, this guy's got a big heart and broad shoulders.
Yes, he does in so many ways. Coach, thank you. I knew he wanted to give you all of that praise, and you deserve it, Blake. I mean, incredible. You worked so hard in the offseason. I know you put on weight, but you came in with something to prove today. What did you leave out there?
I left it all out there. You know, I just love this game, man. I love this team. I love this block M, and I love my guys, man. I just came out here to play for them. They played for me, and we got the job done. You know, we had some things to fix, but it was a great game. It's a great team. You know, I just do it for the people that can't do it. You know, earlier this week, Aiden Hudson shouted him out. I played for him, too. I sent him a video earlier this week, and, you know, I do it for the people that can't do it because they would love to be in my spot, so why not give it my all, you know? So I just love this game. I don't take advantage of nothing. It was a great team win.
Well, it was an incredible display today, but you speak of just fine-tuning, and at times the offense, it felt like you guys were still finding a rhythm. JJ, new quarterback for you guys. What do you want to see, the first thing you guys address at practice this week?
I just want to see where we can get better. You know, go to the film room, where can we grow? You know, what can we continue to improve on, and go from there.
I know you're from this area, going up against Maryland. Did it mean a little extra going up against them and having this kind of day?
It did, you know what I'm saying? It was fun being out there with guys I used to play with before. You know, this is a game of football that doesn't last forever, so when you get to play with teammates that you play with, youth ball, high school, it's all fun, man. Like I said, it was fun out there today.
Congratulations. I know we're going to see plenty more this season.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Go Blue.
All right, Jenny, thank you. The final score here at Michigan Stadium is Michigan 34, Maryland 27. Joel, your final thoughts?
Well, this Michigan team, they get the win, but you got to feel like they've got a lot to fix this week before they go to Iowa City and face the Hawkeyes. Having said that, they've got a star. Blake Corum, wow. At times today, Gus, put the Wolverines right on those broad shoulders that Jim Harbaugh talked about and led them to victory.
34-27, the final. We'll have more from Ann Arbor with Rob Stone and the guys after this break. For Jenny Taft and Joel Klatt, I'm Gus Johnson saying so long and have a wonderful day.